R.U.R. is the past, present, and future. It was those three things when it was written. It was those three things now, and it will be those three things in the future as we see it evolve.
Why is this so darn current? How 100 years ago did they hit this on the nose? R.U.R. to me was the sort of Marxist side of it, the idea of the robota, the worker, entire social structures turned upside down. And this is the thing that I think Čapek was really in tune with. If you're going to put this into our human lives, what do we get for it? What do we do then?
R.U.R., Rossum's Universal Robots, was written in the 1920s. And it was translated into English by a guy called Paul Salver. And the translation isn't necessarily an accurate reflection of the original play. So the standard English version of R.U.R. has always been somewhat removed from the original author's intent. But that stayed the standard version for decades, until 2024, when MIT Press published a book on R.U.R., and it included a new translation of the 1920 original. And as a drama group, we were really pleased to be given permission to perform the new translation. So as far as we know, our version of R.U.R. is the only place where you can experience this new translation, which is, we believe, the most faithful translation of what Čapek wrote.
It really falls in the prophecy we see over again in many, many science fiction episodes about technological development leading to the destruction of the society. We see this in The Forbidden Planet. Societies is completely non-human, but the development of technology is very, very much past where we're ever going to be. We see it in Blade Runner with the replicants. I just find it's an interesting thread, and we see over and over again in science fiction, and this is one of the very early occurrences of this kind of thread, which really makes it key, and it helps understanding all science fiction, a lot of the science fiction that follows.
So in R.U.R., it was the first presentation of the potentiality of artificial intelligence and robotics. And then we've seen it evolve over time as a wish, as a fantasy, and pop culture promulgated the idea and fascination with robots. And now we are in the place where we are making them, and they are doing things. And there is a certain, for me, unsettling quality about what they might be used for. And so as we sit in this kind of fulcrum moment in this process, we anticipate what could happen in the future. And there is promise and fear.
I see it as having two levels. It has the technological level. It also has the what does it mean to be a human being level. You can have a parallax view of the robots as being workers, as being a revolutionary group who are taking over from the establishment, the aristocracy, the rich. And when he says, when you're making a revolution, you have to break a few eggs, that could easily have been taken in 1920 to mean the Russian Revolution. So I think that part of this becoming human ending is that even they go through a phase of being tyrannical, but then they become human because eventually they show traits that are belonging to all of us. And somebody said that we are engineering our own next species, whether you talk about revolutions in human beings or technological next species.
Our goal is to free the robots.
Come again?
One ought to treat them like people.
Oh, should they be voting in elections? Should they be drinking beer? Should they be ordering us around?
Why shouldn't they be allowed to vote?
Should they even get paid a wage?
Of course they should.
That's interesting. And what would they do with the money, if I may ask?
They buy anything they need, something that please them.
I don't want to sound as if I'm dissing Zoom. We've chosen to use it as a tool because it is such a useful way of collaborating. But one of the biggest problems with a Zoom meeting is when people talk at once. And this has to happen. In some of our scenes, there are moments when 2 or 3 characters are meant to speak all at the same time, talking over each other. And that's difficult to do in Zoom. It takes a little bit of patching up to get the sound right.
That's what I keep saying. There's nothing better than good old Europe. You see, she hasn't forgotten us. She's offering us help.
What help? A theater?
An orchestra?
More than that.
You yourself?
Oh, no, I'm not important, but I'll stay as long as I'm needed.
God in heaven, how delightful!
Domin is extremely naive. He feels mindless labor for the sake of making money to survive and being a slave to a corporation or a business. He thinks that's an injustice, and he wants to change that. Despite his naivete, I find it very endearing after the robots have risen up. He says, "It wasn't wrong to dream. It wasn't wrong."
I think she sees these robots as deserving human rights, and so she's come there to champion them and see if she can't make a difference in their lives and to sort of catch these creators in their folly and making these robots not feel pain, for instance. She doesn't know what goes into making the world turn, but she holds this ideal picture of us being human.
Dr. Gall gets very excited about when there's a woman, and I think he probably gets very excited on several levels. One is the chance to just observe a woman and see what she's like, but also there's that sense of attraction, I think, that he feels. His dopamine is going off in his brain and thinking, oh boy. Later on in the play, it looks like to me he also gets very excited about the potential change in Radius as the other robot that starts to change. And I think he gets very excited about these internal changes that are happening. And I don't think he really understands anything about the ramifications of this.
My character, Fabry, is an engineer, just like I am. And the play shows what can happen if you have too much hubris about logic, reason, analysis, economics, and things like that without any heart and soul. And so it really resonates with me because of that. And I think that we're seeing a whole lot of this condition in today's world.
I use lots of reference materials from the time, so for this I looked at lots of Art Deco building designs, thinking that I might be able to adapt some of those, some real building designs, to the world of R.U.R. In the end, I've decided against that for this particular production because it's a theatrical piece, and I wanted to try and reflect the theatrical origins of the play and therefore create backgrounds which look like a stage set. I've taken Čapek's literal descriptions of the sets and I've tried to create those visually. So it's almost as if he's saying what he wants us to show, and I've then found ways of generating those images. As Planet Zoom players, we've done a few productions prior to this one. We did an H.G. Wells story, which is a kind of a precursor to War of the Worlds, and we did that one using illustrative material which was a mixture of genuine archive photographs of real people, plus some animation, to allow the story some flights of fantasy, visually speaking.
I seem to be looking down from a height, a tower. I also felt I was looking down at the scenery.
We did a Lee Brackett story, which, because of its pulp origins, it was published in a pulp magazine back in the day, we gave it a kind of a pulpy look, very colourful, very bright. And for that one, we had 3D models.
Oh, yeah. What is it now? Sit down with me, Nana. I'm so anxious. I don't have time for that. Is that Radius still here? The crazy one? They haven't taken him away yet. So he's still here. Is he raging? They tied him up. Please, Nana, bring him over here. Yeah, sure. Bring him over here. I'd rather bring a rabid dog. Just go get him. Like any good story, it has lots of twists and turns, and I think that's part of what makes it so good. I think it couldn't be more relevant if someone was typing this in New York right now.
And I think that R.U.R. made the menu and set the table, and now we are all dining.